Let's talk about another shortage, and that is in common sense down at the royal family. Andrew Montford, Deputy Director of Net Zero Watch, joins us. I don't know if you saw the pictures in the papers this morning. Alexandra Palace in London. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge had their first inaugural Earthshot Prize Awards, right? And they used upcycled clothes. Not recycled, but upcycled. Now, Prince William looks as if he's like dressed as the man from Milk Tray, circa 1975. And she looks like something out of The Handmaid's Tale, which, I mean, normally I'm quite a big supporter of these two, but, you know, we're going to talk to Andrew Montford here from Net Zero Watch. Andrew, I said this morning that I've come fully prepared to work today, dressed as an eco-warrior, wearing clothes that I have actually worn before. Does that mean I'm possibly qualifying for a prize of £1,000,000?
I think you should be looking at getting the Earthshot Prize next year, Mike. Absolutely.
I mean, my socks, I must confess, and I'm sorry to do this, but my socks are actually new. I haven't worn those before.
Oh, well, you're probably destroying the planet then, aren't you, Mike?
Probably.
Yeah. I have no idea what these people are on. What goes through their heads when, you know, they come in on a helicopter to these prizes or in a chauffeur-driven limousine and then tell us that they've upcycled their clothes and they expect us to be impressed.
Yes.
Who is advising these people? As you say, I've actually had quite a lot of time for Kate and William in the past. They do come across as the sensible pair, but suddenly I don't know, they seem to have got the green religion and then they start talking nonsense.
I know. It is a shame, isn't it? Because we've got COP26 coming up, and I'm sure you and I will be speaking plenty about that over the next couple of weeks. But already, even The Guardian are starting to report that things are going wrong. They've got apparently a load of companies that have stumped up millions of pounds to actually promote it, to subsidise it, to sponsor it. They're all saying, unbelievably, that it's not managed very well, and all of the arrangements appear to be a bit last minute, and some of the civil servants are very inexperienced.
Yeah, the Rolls-Royce mines in Whitehall don't seem to be quite what they were in the past, do they?
No.
I imagine
I presume that's because they're all working from home.
It may well be something to do with that. Also, I think they've probably got bigger worries than whether the sponsors are happy. They're worrying about things like whether Putin's actually going to turn up. I mean, President Xi of China has already said he's not coming. The Brazilians may not come. The Indians may not come. If the big emitters like that aren't going to even turn up, the whole thing's going to be a flop anyway. It's going to be a complete waste of everybody's time.
I know, absolutely right. And also, you know, the idea that that we're going to have an entire sort of multi-million-pound meeting in which the main focus is going to be something agreed that may or may not ever happen. It's kind of nebulous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on. Well, this is COP26, and essentially the same thing happens every time. You know, we are told a month before the meeting that it's the last chance for humankind, and we're all going to go to hell in a handcart if they don't agree anything. Then we have a deadlock. Then we have the breakthrough at 1:45, and then we get an agreement. And then 2 weeks later, everybody realizes that the agreement was a sham and that they didn't actually agree anything. They agreed to further talks or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a joke. The whole thing is that the process is a joke.
But when are the sort of powers that be in this country going to wake up and realise that it's a joke? And I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend, and we were talking about heat pumps, you know, and this idea that Boris Johnson's got that he's going to loan some of our own money back to us to part buy a heat pump, which costs somewhere between £15,000 and £20,000, but he's going to give us a £5,000 loan. And I'm going, does he actually sit in Downing Street thinking that the large bulk of people in this country have got 15 grand to spare?
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, that grant comes from our money as well. It's just they'll have to increase taxes so that we can pay it.
Right.
It is a joke. So your question was, when are they going to realise that that it is a joke?
Right.
I think the answer is it may well come this winter, because we are in this energy crunch. It does look like we're in danger of running out of gas and that we might get power cuts. If that happens, then I think people will start to realise that we have gone down a very, very mistaken path, and
right.
we're in trouble.
Well, exactly right. Because, I mean, if we have an NHS crisis every winter, the way things are going, we're going to have an energy crisis every single winter, and nobody really knows where it's going to end. Nobody can see the end of the rising prices, because every single bill that they get keeps going up and up. We did this last week. People were telling me their direct debit has gone from £90 to basically £190, and they haven't got the money, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that will continue until such time as the government doesn't it's got to do a flip-flop. It's got to turn around and say, okay, it was wrong to ban shale gas. That's the only way out of this. And even that's going to take a couple of years. You can't just snap your fingers and start drilling wells. It takes time. In winter 23, 24, if we start fracking soon, we might have a reasonable supply of gas. Then the prices might come down and sanity might be restored. But at the moment, the government's, the last thing they announced was that they were going to try nuclear. Well, nuclear, that's going to take 10 years.
Well, at least. I mean, I don't believe there's anything that this country can build in 10 years. I mean, the Chinese can probably build a nuclear plant in about a week and a half. But, it takes us about 20 years, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these big plants do take a long time because the bureaucracy and the regulation is amazing. And of course, the other thing to remember is that nuclear and renewables is not a viable combination. Nuclear and gas works, renewables and gas works, but renewables and nuclear, it's not a goer.
No, it really isn't. Finally, Andrew, for a good laugh, I don't know whether you saw at the weekend, there was a piece of rather startling video of Greta Thunberg on a stage singing the Rick Astley song.
I tried not to.
I'm never going to give you up. I don't quite know exactly who she was singing it with. I didn't recognise the bloke, but it's quite scary.
Well, yes, this is and that cabinet ministers listen to her and hang on her every word. I mean, it's rather scary, actually, isn't it? I'm sure she's. I mean,
some people would have got nightmares from that. I mean, luckily I'm made of stronger stuff, but I mean, it was quite bizarre looking.
I thought it was rather nice, actually, to see her doing the kind of things that 17-year-old girls should be doing, is sort of dancing around and making fools of themselves. Pontificating to the world about the end of the planet and climate change is really not what they should be doing.
No, it really isn't. But Andrew, as ever, good to talk to you. I'm sure we'll talk again at some point over the next couple of weeks. He's the Deputy Director of Net Zero Watch, because quite frankly, this COP26 nonsense is getting out of hand.